Hey guys, how's everybody doing on this Monday afternoon? Hey, we're just coming at you with a quick little bench update, I guess you could call it. A bit of an experiment that I've been working on. My buddy build with Tommy is done, so I'm just waiting for Tommy to finish his up, and then we'll post the final on both of those at the same time. And he's making good progress on his. So I've seen a couple of sneak peeks of his build, and it's looking really good. So shouldn't be too much longer, and then we'll be able to get those up. But in the meantime, I've been trying this little experiment. So this little experiment that I'm giving a shot here, it involves one of the Ming ships, the sub, and something that I've been wanting to try for quite some time, and I'm just getting around to it. But I wanted to put the sub underwater using epoxy resin, a 2-part epoxy resin for the water, so that you could still see the sub, but it would be obvious that it's underwater. If that makes sense. So what I did is I've been taking pictures all along the way. So I'm going to show you a quick little slideshow right now, and that will take you up to about an hour ago, and then I'll come back and show you what's going on. So here's the slideshow, and I'll be right back. So that last picture that you just saw, that was earlier this afternoon. I poured the second layer of the resin, I had two main concerns going into this. One was color matching the resin between the first layer and the second layer so that you couldn't see a seam line between the two. The second concern I had was that the resin gets pretty darn warm while it's curing, and I wasn't 100% sure that it wouldn't melt the model, that was a concern. So poured the first layer that you saw, where there was about that much in it, so it just came up to the bottom of the sub. That was enough to hold the sub in place once it hardened, so I was able to take the wires out that you saw that was holding the sub in place. Mixed up the second layer this morning and went to pour that in. Perfect. Beautiful. Color match was dead on. You could not see a seam for nothing. I mean, I was really excited. So I'm watching it and keeping an eye on it and everything for bubbles to start coming up. Well, a few bubbles came up, no problem, and I could either use this little butane torch that I've got here or a straw if it was in a spot where I couldn't get the flame from the torch to it. So like I said, few bubbles came up, no problem. I waited probably an hour, maybe a little bit longer than an hour. Bubbles had stopped, so it was starting to harden up, but it was still a liquid. And I figured, okay, well, everything's going fine here. Had a couple of lights that I just finished up over the weekend, so I needed to get those in the mail. So I went ahead and I left for the post office. Post office is only about 3 blocks that way. I was gone 20 minutes max. 20 minutes was all I was gone. Let me flip this camera around and I'll show you what I came home to. Yeah, all I could do was cry. Enough of the resin had seeped into the model so that it forced out the air, but the resin was set enough to where it didn't go all the way up to the surface. Now, had I been here, I could have taken care of that with no problem at all. I could have stuck a small wire down in there and, you know, popped the air bubbles so that the air had some place to escape, and then it would have been fine. But 20 minutes later, when I came home, the resin had already set up hard enough to where, you know, there wasn't a thing I could do about it. So I'm still going to call it a success because of the fact that I know, had I been here, I could have fixed it without a problem. And the model did not melt. I can tell by looking at it that it hasn't melted. It was just the resin seeping into the inside of the model someplace, and it just finally seeped, enough of it seeped in to where it forced the air out. So I'm going to go ahead and let this finish curing. It's still a little on the warm side, but I can touch it now. But I'm going to let it finish sitting. I'm going to let it finish curing, and then I'll take the plexiglass off of the sides here and off of the bottom, and then I'll be back and show you what the final result is. So I'll be back in a minute. Yep, it's Monday night. This is all completely cured now, and this is what we end up with. I got all the case off of it, all the plexiglass and everything, all got that all peeled off of it, and this is what we ended up with. So as you can see, there's, you know, caused by the bubble, there's a big old hole here in the side. If I had the proper tools, I could possibly fix this, because I know what they do, or what I've seen people do, is they'll drill a hole into these bubbles, and then they'll take a big hypodermic needle and then actually insert mixed resin into the holes, and then once it hardens, it just kind of like disappears. But I don't have the tools to do that with. So anyways, I now have a 1.5 pound paperweight. So alright guys, well, like I said before, I'm not going to call it a failed experiment, because I know it will work. I just can't go to the post office while it's curing. I got to stick around and watch it a little bit more. So we're going to be trying it again. We'll be trying something else with resin, because I like working with this stuff. You can do some pretty cool things with it. So you'll be seeing more resin builds from me in the future. Alrighty, so thanks guys if you stuck in this long, because I know this is going to be kind of a long video, but I appreciate it. I appreciate all my subs, and hope everybody's staying safe. And you guys have a good week, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.